My mom, putting me first, obviously told me not to come to California because she didn't want to get me sick with the virus. For the next week, I woke up and texted my family, and we had a coronavirus update chat. However, one day, my mom didn't respond to my text messages. My brother told me that my mom was weak and she was having trouble breathing, and she was going to the emergency room. For the next 2 days, I waited on my phone for updates every single minute. I'm happy to say my mom is still alive today by the grace of God. But for 213,000 Americans, they weren't that fortunate. This virus didn't have to take away someone's mom, dad, brother, sister, wife, or grandma. It's completely the fault of the Trump administration and their many failures that brought us to this position we're at now. That is why I'm in this fight for Joe. He has a plan, and we need to get Joe elected as our next president. With 25 days into the election, one way you can do to get Joe elected is by reaching out to your existing network, your family, your friends, your neighbors, and anyone else you know, and having a conversation about why you are supporting Joe Biden and why they should too. And how do you do this, you ask? Get your phone out right now and go to the App Store and download Vote Joe app. That's the Vote Joe app. From there, you can import your contacts and begin having real conversations with them about this election and why they need to vote for Joe and Kamala Harris on November 3rd, and why they are the best candidates to lead our country moving forward. I also want you to do me a favor. I want you to post all your content today, all your pictures, all your videos on social media with the hashtag JoeInNV. Because today, Las Vegas, Joe is in Nevada. This election is in our hands. We will decide the future of the next 4 years. Don't let anybody tell you different. Your vote matters, and you need to vote, and your family needs to vote, and your neighbor needs to vote. Thank you so much for having me, and I wanted to introduce you to our next artist, DJ D. Miles, for entertainment tonight. Thank you so much, Las Vegas.
I see that for miles and miles and miles. When I sleep in the evening, oh Lord, where did she go? Only in dreams. She's only in dreams. Well, my life, been here before. Don't drag me through this again. We tried everything under the sun. Now I'm trying to wake up from this. I'm trying to wake up from it. All we ever do is all we ever do. feeling low, feeling high, feeling down. Why isn't this enough? I'm feeling low, feeling high, feeling down. Why isn't this enough?
Sweet. Let's check. Welcome. Welcome to our drive-in voter mobilization event with Vice President Joe Biden. If you would like to help get out the vote and elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, please take United to 30330 right now. That's 30330. And welcome and thank you for joining us.
There ain't a reason you and me should be alone tonight, yeah, baby, tonight, yeah, baby. I got a reason Grandpa Campbell would sit upon his front porch, and I'd be right there just sitting on his knee. He'd tell stories of love and feast and famine, and I'd hang on to every word that he would read. He said, boy, as you walk through this life, here's a little wisdom that'll help you get by. You gotta live and learn, you gotta crash and burn, you gotta make some dances and take some chances. You gotta laugh and love and take all life has to give. You gotta live and learn, so you can learn to live. So I left home and I went to Carolina. I then set off just to see what I could see. I did something that I wasn't really proud of. Sometimes life just got the best of me. But I'd always think back to those days. And I know what Grandpa Campbell would say. Say you gotta live and learn, you gotta crash and learn, you gotta be substantial and take some chances. You gotta laugh and love and take all life has to give. You gotta live and learn to learn. Love for me.
about y'all, it's all about family. It's about family. It's about family and faith and loyalty. And that's what I think every time I think of here. And so I want to thank you. Now, I tell you what, Edgar planned on bringing in 20 horses in here, but he couldn't get them in today. Tell you what, I've had people campaign for me. I've never had them go through the neighborhoods with me on horses. But my dad, who was a real equestrian, would have really been flattered to know you're doing this. Folks, look, it's great to be back at the center. And I don't have to tell you all, there's so much at stake. And, here we are. We've gone through so much since I was here last. Because of the incompetence of this administration, 200,000, 10,000 people dead. We're in a situation where that's 40,000 Latinos nationwide. 40,000. 30 million people lost their jobs. 3 million Latinos lost their jobs. 1 in 3 Latino businesses have closed. And the deep racial injustices that Trump continues to fan the flames of. It's just wrong. We have to end this cycle where in good times you're being left behind, in bad times you're the first in trouble, and as we come out, always the last to come out. This crisis, we have, I think, though, an enormous opportunity to build back better. I'm going to be very short, so I'm not going to keep you standing very long, don't worry. But I really feel strongly about this. I think we're in a circumstance where you all understand it, but the American public is beginning to understand it. You are the core of the American story. You have a potential, you're already an economic powerhouse, but the potential to lead the country in the 21st century in the direction that we need to go. You have close to 20% of the population in the United States, 24 out of every 100 kids in grade school through high school are Latino. And it's ridiculous that we continue to policies that this administration has moved forward on and not embrace that and see it as our future. I'm not trying to be solicitous with you. I'm not trying to be nice. You are the future of the country. I mean, you really are. If in fact we're in a situation where the Latino community in the United States of America and the GDP, the wealth that they generate nationwide, if we just took the Latino population, you'd be the 8th largest economy in the world, in the United States. Why can't we see that the future is just absolutely breathtaking if we just use our heads and begin to operate in a way that I think the American people are ready to do? The blinders have been taken off the American people. They get it. They understand. They understand that all those folks in the front lines, look at how many dreamers are out there risking their lives. You know it, but the American people don't know it. I keep telling them all over the country. The dreamers, there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of them risking their lives, making sure that people are staying alive, they can stay home. And so, folks, look, we're going to be in a situation where we can't make this, we can't do it without you all. We cannot win without the community. And I'm going to say something somewhat self-serving about you all. The fact is, you can determine the outcome of this election, not just for president, but for the Senate, for the Congress. And that's the biggest mark. The single most consequential thing anyone can do is vote. And when you vote and they add it up and they see who delivered the vote, that's the thing that guarantees significant input on what happens next. So, folks, early voting starts. The clock is ticking. Voting starts here in just 8 days on the 17th. And I encourage you to tell all your friends, go to iwillvote.com now. Make sure they're registered. Their addresses are up to date on the ballot. And they have a plan to vote. The early voting right here, right at this spot. So come back next weekend, bring your family, and bring 5 friends. I really mean it. Bring other people with you, because he's trying to scare us. He's trying to convince everybody there's ways they can play with the vote and undermine the vote. They can't. If we show up, we win. And look what's happening in early voting all across America. Long lines, Long lines. We can't just win. We have to win overwhelmingly. So you can't be in a position where you can put the phony challenges that he's talking about. So folks, the American people, they're going to be the ones to decide our future, not this president and attorney general who is less than straightforward. You're the ones. So let's get out and vote. I know the sun is hot. I want to keep you standing. And I want to thank the elected officials. This we call, and I tell them, this we call a busman's holiday. That means, you know, when a busman has a holiday, he has a day off, the guy driving, he doesn't get back on a bus. Well, these folks are all on the bus. They're elected officials, and they're another elected official. I can't thank you enough for your support. I give you my word. I will do everything in my power to deliver on all that I've said. I mean it from my heart. You are family. Family and faith are what's driven this community and is going to drive this country. And so, folks, let's go get them. Every time I'd walk out of my grandpop, my grandpop wasn't. My grandpop was not Hispanic. He was an Irishman. And every time I'd walk out of his door up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, he'd say, "Joey, keep the faith." You know, my grandma, when she was alive, would yell, "No, Joey, spread it. Let's go spread the faith," okay? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And by the way, I promise you, if I win, you're getting an invitation to Washington, okay? Not a joke. Not a joke. But thank you. You're the best.
Okay, press, we're gonna load. Back the way we came. Press, travel to the lobby.
Battleground state where we represent not only the growing diversity of the country, but the growing support towards radical progressive movements. Early voting starts on October 17th, and that is the perfect opportunity to sign up to volunteer and unite your community to build back better. Raise your hand and wave to talk to any of the wonderful organizers going around, and they can tell you more about our community events. Thank you.
That's okay. Exactly. I hope so. All right, I'll give them a call now.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? They're all jobbers, man. Well, you know. Well, that'd be a nice gig. It would be a nice gig. It should have been all of you guys, man. Bergen in there, everybody who's put their time in. Not these group of twats who aren't good at what they do. they're just cheaper. And that's all it is, because I think PPI, it's either PPI or the other. It's yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, he's about 20 minutes out this week. But I think he's going in the building first. Yeah. It's not even really blocking yet. Okay, we're still not blocking yet. Okay. I still got another 70% right now on the 6 days, so
Hey, Gerald.
there we go. It's not like crazy on this one.
Just right on the flag. Okay.
What's up? I'm not blocking. Somebody goes to mine. Okay, you're emergency.
Good afternoon and welcome to our voter mobilization event with President Joe Biden. If you would like to get out and vote and elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, please text United to 30330 right now. That is 30330. Once again, welcome to our drive-in voter mobilization event. Thank you.
Hey, sure got pretty teeth. What? Sure got pretty teeth. I know. I need to see how my face looks on the camera. It hasn't been a problem at other sites. I'm sorry. I won't do it again.
Well, stand there at the podium.
If you want to take it off to get the lighting thing, I'm fine with it. Just have it hanging on an ear. Have it visibly there, so I don't have a.
I hear you. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. In every episode, they just come up with creative ways. John, how do we look? Oh, nice. On this side? Yeah. Okay. That works. I mean, we can still go up if we want. So, nice. Great. How can we make this more Really good. It does seem like we passed a pretty big catalog on that side, but we can focus on some. Okay. Best we can with us. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the sun's so high right now, we're just straight down. We had this. Thank you. I don't see him in a few minutes. Yeah.
Hey, do me a favor. You can send something to Ari. We just took a picture of me up there.
Ready? Right? I took a couple. Oh,
He asked me, you have to be with him. He doesn't have No. Hey, you know, he's never going to take care of those questions to stay No, I'm wondering if you still. I'm trying to I told my wife I'm feeling thinner by the minute. Hey, you might want to tell your guys at Felligan.
It's a better shot.
Huh? It's not for me.
It's a better shot.
This is for us.
Oh, it's for us?
Yeah, because they said we're not going to change our position. Wait, you're not going to run up here and then...
I've done it before, believe me. Yeah, we've totally done it.
Yeah, actually, this is for Anthony. He's going to hold a boom on the front.
You know what? Let's just work on it. Do that. Okay. Okay, clearing. Coming in. Boom. Here. There you go.
Like you see right through me and make it easier. Leave me in the wheel after tonight. Oh, because you are the best thing. You are the best thing. You are the best thing. Baby, come on, baby. You know I hope and I pray that you let me be. When I say this love will never fade away. Oh, because you are the best thing. You are the best thing. You are the best thing. Boys had a moment, but Come on, come on, so I was saying, walk on out the door. Was a strong, I'm caught last night. Let me tell you just like you know what's on my mind. You are everything. You are the best. You are the best ever happened. You are the best. You are the best thing. You are the best thing ever happened. Let my heart, let my soul, you think I'm naked, quickly go. There must be someone up above. Let my heart, and there's no two. I know what I'm gonna go, I know what I'm gonna do. You must be somebody. Oh, I ain't gonna break it. You gotta come on. You gotta There's my heart, there's my mind. I got so much to do. I ain't got much time. So I'll make you go on. Oh, oh, bring the come. You gotta get back on. got to hold on. You gotta hold on. You gotta hold on.
Water? Good. You may have to go check that monitor. No, the audio monitor. Okay, wait, you tell me where it's at.
Hey, your band is well again.
Hi, everybody. My name is Patrick. I'm an organizer here with the Nevada Democratic Party. That's what I like to hear. So like a lot of people here in Las Vegas, I'm actually not originally from this area. I'm a very recent transplant. But that's actually why I really like to work here. It gives you an opportunity to work with people from all walks of life, from all over this country. Whether they're from California or New York, or pretty much actually just from California or New York, it seems. You get to meet people from all over, and you get to experience like all these different ideas and values that you don't normally get to see. That's actually, you know, what I really value about working here in Vegas too is it's almost like a melting pot of a city. So many people from different walks of life, from different backgrounds. It's a microcosm of this country. That's what inspires me every single day, is seeing people either from here, whether you were born here, whether you were here for 20 years or 3 months like me. People are working together to make this place better. To make this place
I'm on that camera right
better for everybody.
So you see downtown Las Vegas right now.
The Nevada Democratic Party up and down the ballot. It's great to work together here. In 8 days, people will start to get to vote early in person for Democrats up and down the ballot here from the state assembly all the way up to Joe Biden for president of the United States. And I encourage all of you, everybody here, whether you're from Henderson, whether you're from Spring Valley, North Vegas, or right in the center of town, put in the work for the next 25 days to get people elected that will help out this community, help make lives better for people who are disabled, for people who just moved here from another country. People who need our help all over are counting on us to put in the work. And that's what I'm going to be doing. Yeah. As somebody who's not from here, I'm inspired to do right by this community. Seeing all these cars here, seeing all these people who took time out of their day just to see Joe Biden, to see somebody who will finally make a difference for people here. The last 4 years, we've had someone in office that doesn't seem to care about all the different communities here. All the different communities that we represent, that we work for, that we fight for. So that's what I'm doing for the next 25 days. I'm going to be making phone calls, I'm going to be sending texts. I'm going to be turning out the vote for Democrats, like Susie Lee for Congress, like Radhika Connell for State Assembly, everybody for State Senate, State Assembly, every Democratic Congressperson here in Vegas and all across Nevada. I'm going to be working to get them elected, and Joe Biden too. Because I want to do right by this place that I know called home. Like a lot of you now go home. So thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. And I look forward to being in this fight with all of you for the next 25 days. And every day after that, for the next 4 years, we'll be able to re-elect Joe Biden for president in 2024. Thank you all.
I'm going to lift this camera this way. You need to slide 200. Ready? 1, 2.
You need to have Clarence replaced, or how do you want to handle that?
I have the whole team coming back for strike that was over at the other site.
So for like fine.
Hi, what do you think? Okay.
Ay, qué bonito es bailar, eso te digo contigo, como por esa vaquera, el chino con el pico. Ay, qué bonito es bailar, eso te digo contigo, como por esa vaquera, el chino con el pico. Pica, 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 pero ya es que te amo, qué bonita, todas las que están bailando. Qué don, 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 qué bonita, la ciudad de Don Simón.
Thank you.
Que se baila con estilo, de la bamba y el danzón. Es un ritmo lindo, es un ritmo sabrosón. Que se baila con estilo, de la bamba y el danzón. Repica, pica, pica, repica, repiqueteando. Qué bonitas, todas las que están bailando. Qué bonitas las chicas de los hijos. Por aquí pasó volando una calandria amarilla, una calandria amarilla. Por aquí pasó volando, por aquí pasó volando una calandria amarilla, una calandria amarilla. Por aquí pasó volando, en su grito llevaba una bolsa de castilla que el viento la desatada como una maravilla. Su grito llevaba una bolsa de castilla que el viento la desatada como una maravilla. Suena se baña, orilla del río, Pama, María Crucera se baña, y el coche corto está pasando y le decía, María, ni te chupaste ni te echó la mía, ni te chupaste ni te echó la mía, ni te echó la casa, no me la silla. Lo traigo de ese banco, lo traigo de ese banco, es el cobito que traigo, y lo vengo manteniendo con cascaritas de banco. Es el cobito que traigo, lo traigo de ese banco, Lázaro, Lázaro que se da. Échame tu beso sin alma, si me tienes voluntad, Lázaro, Lázaro que se fue. Échame tu beso sin alma y nunca te olvidaré. No es pinto ni es colorado, no es pinto ni es colorado, este bonito que traigo, este bonito barroso de naciones acerrado, este bonito que traigo, lo traigo desde el lado, Lázaro, Lázaro que se le da, échame contra sus piernas si me quieres contar, Lázaro, Lázaro que se le fue, échame contra sus piernas y nunca te olvidaré. ¡Hola, muchachos! ¡Echen las zapateadas, gusanos! ¡Están cansados! Ay, qué bonito es volar, a las 11 de la noche, a las 11 de la noche. Ay, qué bonito es volar, ay, me agarra la bruja y me lleva al cuartel, me vuelve maceta y me da de comer. Me agarra la bruja y me lleva a su casa, me vuelve maceta y me da calabaza.
And push the tape down. I'm not sure what you want to do, but it's like this whole thing is down.
Let's just try to get like an inch and a half. You need any waters? Good. But from the stratosphere, and then from here, there's one building, and there's nothing there. I mean, it's buildings like that. So.
You know, I was only kind of serious about station, but I don't care.
They never fill them to the top, right? That's the water barricade.
Yeah.
Like press it really good again.
Yo, if you had regular October weather, this wouldn't be hot. I'm serious.
It's random. It's random.
It's hot as fuck, dude.
No. Yeah. Era de madrugada cuando te empecé a querer, un beso a la medianoche, el otro al amanecer. Era de madrugada cuando te empecé a querer, un beso a la medianoche, el otro al amanecer. Era de madrugada cuando te empecé a querer. Un beso a la medianoche, el otro al amanecer. Cero de la mañana, préstame tu claridad para seguirle los pasos a esa joven que hoy se va. Cero de la mañana, préstame tu claridad para seguirle los pasos a esa joven que hoy se va. Lucero de la mañana, préstame tu claridad para seguirle los pasos a esa joven que hoy se va. Ahorita en la noche estuve rodeando tu cacalito, a ver si te podía ver por algún agujerito. Ahorita en la noche estuve rodeando tu cacalito, a ver si te podía ver por algún agujerito. Ahorita en la noche estuve rodeando tu cacalito, a ver si te podía ver por algún agujerito. Ay, ay, ay.
bring it maybe like, well, UNLV next Saturday, or they're going to script. Yeah, so this is just a should we do last post a couple? No, Sarah Yeah.
Oh no, what I did is I put it in the drawer.
Aquí pasó volando una calandria amarilla, una calandria amarilla. Por aquí pasó volando una calandria amarilla, una calandria amarilla. Por aquí pasó volando y no llevaba una rosa de Castilla que el viento la deshojaba. Como una maravilla, su piquito llevaba una rosa de Castilla que el viento la deshojaba. Como una maravilla, chuchera se baña, orilla del río, María Chuchera se baña, está pasando y le decía, nunca salí de Cholambia, nunca salí de Cholambia, ni de la casa de María García. Y lo vengo manteniendo con pascalitas de mano. Este torito que traigo lo traigo desde el pango. Lázaro, Lázaro que se va. Échale todas sus almas si me quieres columnar. Lázaro, Lázaro que se te fue. Échale tus brazos mi alma y nunca te olvidaré. No es pinto ni es colorado, no es pinto ni es colorado, es el torito que traigo, es un torito barroso de naciones acerrado, este torito que traigo, lo traigo desde el lado. Lázaro, Lázaro que se te va, échale tus brazos mi alma si me quieres columnar. Lázaro, Lázaro que se te fue, échale tus brazos mi alma y nunca te olvidaré. Ay, qué bonito es volar, las 11 de la noche, ay, las 11 de la noche, qué bonito es volar, ay, y me da de comer, me agarra la aguja y me lleva a su casa, me vuelve más seca y me da calabaza. Dígame usted, cuántas criaturitas se chupa usted. Ninguna, no sé, dando en pretensiones de chuparme a usted. Estaba María Chuchera, sentadita en la barranca, sentadita en la barranca. Estaba María Chuchera. Vestido en las piernas, recogido por el blancas. Estaba María Chuchera, sentadita en la barranca. Vestido en las piernas, recogido por el blancas. Estaba María Chuchera. María Chuchera se va a bañar, a orilla del río, muy fama. María Chuchera se está bañando y el techador la estaba mirando y le decía: tu casa ni te echo la quema, ni te echo tu casa, ni te echo la quema, ni te echo la casa de María Chuchera. Ay,
Coming to inside.
Upstairs and go back to the stand, which is over there. That's okay. Okay. Yeah, bro. I will have there's a box. Okay. Great. I will let them know that, and then also. Sure. Three minutes, Ellen. That's better. Way better. And I roll my John, slipped out that alleyway.
It's been a very long time. Well, since high school. So like what, 10 years ago, 9 years ago, yeah, something like that. Oh my gosh, I know when he joined the team. I was like, hi everyone.
My name is Madison Taylor. I'm a field organizer with Nevada Democrats. Thank you. In all honesty, I am completely terrified of public speaking. I have been my entire life. I would even go as far in high school as to fake sick so that I could get out of speeches, and I did the same in college as well. I am here today because I believe in this cause so strongly that I chose today to overcome that fear. Thank you. The Democratic Party helped me see how strong of a woman I am and how much power that I have just at the tips of my fingers. I believe in them and they believe in me too. I am here to speak for all of the people that are afraid to speak up. The day has come. I am here to give you your platform, to use your voice. Let's protect women's reproductive rights, environmental rights, food assistance programs. Yes, yes. Let's win this election. Use your voice. Grab your friends and family and come volunteer with the Nevada Democrats. Election day is only 25 days away, and we need as much help as we can get. You can download the Vote Joe app, and it will connect you with your friends and family, and it will even send out text for you, so you don't even have to worry about typing it. And thank you so much for giving me this platform, and I hope to see you use yours as well. Now, thank you. Now, I am proud to introduce our next speaker, someone Nevada is very lucky to have leading our state, Governor Steve Sisolak.
Good afternoon, Nevada. You've got an incredible lineup of speakers coming here today, and some of the hardest working folks that I know are here to support the next president of the United States, Joe Biden. We are grateful to have our next president here with us today. With just 25 days to go until Election Day and only 8 days until early voting begins, we need to stay focused and double down right now. And that includes electing Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Tina Titus, Susie Lee, Stephen Horsford, and Democrats up and down the ticket. Now I'm going to do something here. I'm not hearing enough horns, and I want you to welcome our next president loudly. So I brought a little air horn here. So join us, please, in welcoming President Biden when he comes out here, because he will be our president. Nevada families cannot afford to continue down the path we are on right now. We are a battle-born state. We know how to fight. We've done incredible work together to fight this pandemic without any leadership coming out of Washington. I can tell you, I had the opportunity to speak to my good friend and colleague, Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan, and what she's going through. And the difference in character, Joe Biden calls her up and asks her how she's doing. Donald Trump gets on national TV and won't disavow white supremacists. That's the difference. We need real leadership. We can't do it alone. Joe and Kamala can't do it alone. They need all of us. Leaders who understand the tragedy. 212,000 American lives are lost. 212,000. And we got a president gets on TV and says it's going away, it'll be gone by Easter, we've got a cure. We don't. And we've had no leadership coming out of Washington to protect our citizens in Nevada. That's why we're all here today, to remind ourselves of everything that's at stake and to take a step towards the future. Your vote, your one vote can make a difference, whether we continue down this path of chaos and disorganization, or we restore compassion and leadership to the White House with Biden-Harris. Can't hear you. Your voice can be the difference when it comes to our state recovering, when it comes to lives being saved and Nevadans getting back to work. Casting a ballot will make the difference between 4 more years of a president who wants to terminate health care, who denigrates veterans, denies science, and won't denounce white supremacy. That's what we've got right now, and we can't have that anymore. We need a president who will expand access to affordable care, protect our environment, who understands the sacrifice our servicemen and women make and their families make, and gets our country back on track. We know we'll make the difference because Nevada is a battleground state, and the road to the White House runs right through Nevada. So it's on us. Not just do we need to vote, we've got to make a plan to vote, make our voices heard, and ensure we turn out our family, our friends, our neighbors, and our coworkers. There are so many ways to vote this election. We made sure that in the last special session, there were many ways to vote and protect your vote without giving up your health and safety. Unlike the president we've got now that spreads lies about what our voting process works here in Nevada in an attempt to suppress the turnout, Nevada Democrats have worked hard to expand access to the ballot box. Many Nevadans are beginning to voting because we have the opportunity to vote by mail. You can fill out your ballot, sign it, and mail it back immediately. Or you can take it to a drop box location. You can vote in person beginning October 17th. That's next Saturday. Through October 30th. Or you can vote in person on November 3rd. But whatever way you choose, make a plan and vote. Then after you voted, make sure everyone you know has made a plan and they get out and vote. No matter which way you vote, do it early. Joe and Kamala can't afford they can't do this alone. They need every one of you, every one of us, up and down the ticket voting for Democrats to support our candidates. So, when we have the vice president walk out here, I want you to give him the loudest, warm Nevada welcome you ever can. And the last thing we got to do, let's go out and win this thing. Thank you.
Please welcome Congresswoman Dina Titus.
Let's make some noise. Thank you. Thank you. Well, hello, Las Vegas. Are you ready? Let me hear it. Let me hear it. You know, we've got 25 days to elect two people to do one big job. We got 25 days to elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to restore the soul of this country. Are you up for it? Are you in with me to do it? Are we going to make it happen? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. I want to thank Governor Sisolak for his leadership in helping Nevada get through this virus and economic hard times. He's been a great leader and has stood strong for us. Let's thank him again. Yes. Now, some of you may remember that I've been riding with Biden for a long time, back from the very beginning, back before any votes were cast and when we had a whole stage full of really great Democratic candidates. And the reason I chose to endorse Joe Biden is because I know Joe Biden. I knew he had the depth of knowledge, the breadth of experience, and the strength of conviction to make a good president on day one. I knew from his own life that he had the compassion in his heart and the steel in his spine to get the job done. I knew that he knew that being progressive like me means making progress and getting things done. I knew Joe Biden, but more importantly, I knew that Joe Biden knows us. Joe Biden knows Nevada. You know, if you've ever sent a family member off to war, Joe knows your sacrifice. If you've ever lost a loved one to a dreaded disease, Joe Biden knows how much that hurts. If you've ever been bullied because you had a disability, Joe Biden's been there. He knows what that's like. If your father or family member ever lost a job, they didn't know how they were going to feed the children, Joe Biden was there when his father went through that. And if you've ever been told, hey, it's not your turn, or you can't do it, or oh, don't make me laugh, Joe Biden knows what it means to persevere, show what you're made of, and get it done. He knows how to do that. That's why he'll be a good president. You know, when Joe Biden looked me in the eyes and said, Nevada will never be a nuclear dump site, you will not have Yucca Mountain, I knew we could trust him. And when he speaks about the need for criminal justice reform and ending systemic racism, we can trust him. He's as good as his word. And he says climate change and gun violence are issues we need to address right on, and we need to do it now. We can trust that's what he means, and he'll do what he says. And when he says that diversity and immigrants are what makes this country strong, we can all believe that that will be what he pushes for. And when it comes to who will listen to the scientists and help us to build back better, we know that Joe Biden means it, and we can trust him to do that. On the other hand, we also know that we can't afford 4 more years of Donald Trump. This country can't stand 4 more years of his recklessness, his lies, his corruption, his not caring about the people of this country. People in Nevada are still hurting. And he says, oh, well, wait till after the election and then I'll give you a good deal. Well, we can't afford to wait. Children are hungry. People need to pay the rent. Businesses need to reopen. We can't wait. So you got to go, Donald Trump. You got to go. So whether you choose to vote in person, Go early, mail it in, show up on election day, lots of options. Make a plan to do it. Take your family with you, take your neighbors, take your Sunday school teacher, take your hairdresser, take the grocery clerk. Get everybody to turn out and vote in this election. It's too important to sit on the sidelines. We got 25 days. Are you in? Are you going to do it? Are we going to elect Joe Biden the next president of the United States? Yes, we are. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Please welcome Congressman Steve Horsford.
Hello, Nevada! How are we feeling out there today? Well, Sonia and I are incredibly excited to be here with all of you to welcome Vice President Joe Biden back to the Silver State. I know that we're all ready to listen to his vision and future for how he's going to move us forward and what he's going to lay out. But I also want to talk a little bit about the path our country has been on under the current president. Our nation has seen many unprecedented situations this year. From this incredible, terrible pandemic that has damaged the economic and physical health of our nation, through natural disasters and social turbulence, our country has truly been in dire straits. This pandemic has devastated Nevada and our economy, plunging us collectively into the worst economic downturn of our generation. And the national leadership has been misguided and full of empty promises. This virus has claimed over 210,000 American lives and continues to put many more out of work. Nevadans need relief, and we needed it, quite frankly, 8 weeks ago when unemployment benefits ran out. Negotiations need to resume so that hardworking families can put food on the table, purchase life-saving medicine, and afford childcare. This relief is long overdue. But most importantly, it's highlighted the areas the current president has let us down. These difficult times require steady leadership. They require a leader who has been there before, someone who is willing to have tough conversations and be strong when responding to the tough questions. I'm proud to have been an early supporter of the vice president because we need a change and he will help facilitate that change. We need leaders who understand that this virus won't simply go away. Leaders who have the experience of fighting for those who can't afford to pay their rent, put food on the table, or purchase life-saving medications because they've lost their jobs. The very location that we're at, the Southeast Career Technical Academy, reminds me of my own background, where I spent more than a decade leading Nevada's largest job training academy in the state, the Culinary Training Academy. We must provide Nevadans with the opportunity to earn a good paying job. With this kind of experience, I can recognize the type of leader we need. Joe Biden is that leader. He understands that this crisis needs a steady hand, commitment, and empathy. We know Joe, but more importantly, Joe knows us. He knows our hopes, our dreams, and our ambitions. He knows that work needs to be done to undo the lasting effects the Trump administration has left on this country. Joe Biden and Senator Kamala Harris will put this nation back on the right track. The values of this ticket go beyond politics. It's about the shared American experience. This ticket is now representative of who America is. Yes, this is an economic crisis, and Joe Biden and Senator Kamala Harris know that we really are in a battle for the soul of our nation. This election will call upon all of us to take action. We must be willing to show up, to vote, to responsibly talk to our neighbors and friends, and make our voices heard. So I'm calling on you, every Nevada Democrat, to make sure that our country moves forward and that we provide opportunities and jobs for all Nevadans. So make a plan. Make a plan to vote absentee, vote early, or vote by election day. And oh, while you're at it, make sure you've completed the census. Are you ready to get out there and elect Joe Biden, our next president of the United States? Let's get out there, let's do what it takes and win. Thank you, and God bless you.
Please welcome Congresswoman Susie Lee.
Hello, Nevada. Hello, Henderson. I want to welcome the Blue Machine. All of you are responsible for turning Nevada blue in 2018. Thank you. And welcome to the heart of Congressional District 3. I am a proud representative of all of you in Congress. You know, we're here today. We got 25 days left to kick off the final push. We are almost there to get Joe Biden elected as the next president of the United States. And I must say, we've been down quite a journey here in Nevada. You know, we are the poster child for how this administration has failed this country in its response to this pandemic. People are out of work. Businesses are on the verge of collapse. Our friends, our families, our neighbors, our parents have suffered and are suffering. And we ask, where is the leadership? Well, I'll tell you where it starts. It starts right here in Nevada with our incredible governor, Steve Sisolak. And it started in Congress with the Democrats who turned out the Families First Act and the CARES Act to get aid into our communities as soon as possible to save businesses. But we got a little ways to go. It's been 5 months since we passed the HEROES Act, but Republicans didn't want to do anything. And then we have a president in a tweet who says, I'm ready to walk away. That's walking away from all of you. And I know who would not play games with people's lives, and that is the next president of the United States, Joe Biden. Joe knows. He knows pain. He knows adversity. but he knows how to fight and he knows how to stand up for working families in America. It's what he has done and what he will continue to do. And I will tell you what is at stake in this election. As he always says, it's the soul of our country. Do we want 4 more years of cover-ups and lies, or do we want 4 years of truth? Do we want 4 years of chaos or 4 years of calm? Do we want 4 more years of fear or 4 more years of hope? 4 years of division or 4 years of unity? I know where you all stand. And for Biden to win Nevada, he must win Congressional District 3. And they are coming after him hard here. You know, Pence was just here yesterday. Trump was here a couple of weeks ago. They are looking at Congressional District 3 as their path to victory in Nevada. And that's why I need all of you to do everything you can in the next 25 days. And guess what? They want someone to ride some coattails. And his name is Big Dan Rodheimer. And we're going to stop Big Dan in his tracks because he's as dangerous as the man in the White House. He wants to basically take a chair to the back of Washington. That's not how you start off a relationship when the country is in the middle of a crisis. What you do is you pull up a chair and you sit down and you have the tough conversations and you work things out. And that's exactly what I've done. And that's exactly the type of leadership that Joe Biden will bring to the White House. You know, I'm one of 8 children. I grew up in Canton, Ohio. And my mom always said to me, you know, you got to be so good that no one can take it away from you. And that is how we have to treat this election. Every single vote from every single corner, we have got to work and get it out so we can win this by a landslide. You know, in the past 4 years, I think a lot of us have like news fatigue, where you wake up in the morning and you're like, I don't really want to know what's in the news. Because it's sort of like drinking a cup of sour milk. It tastes real bad and it's got a real bad aftertaste. But I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to January 24th, pouring myself a nice cup of warm Joe. Let's hear it for Joe Biden. Get out there. We are in this to win this. We need every one of you. Nevada knows how to get it done. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, let's do it.
Please give it up for your Nevada congressional leaders.
We're good? We're good, Molly?
Please welcome Senator Jackie Rosen.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, Nevada. Good afternoon, Henderson. Are you ready to vote? Are you ready to win? And are you ready to send Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to the White House? Let's do it. Because I got to tell you, I am so excited to be here today and have Vice President Biden with us too. And we're going to call him President Biden soon enough. And I know that everyone here is more than ready to get him elected. You know why? Because Joe Biden knows us. He knows our country. He knows Nevada. He's been here and he sat with us at our kitchen tables. He understands the issues that are important to us, the challenges we face, and he knows them better than anyone else. And let me tell you, I've spoken to countless Nevadans, and I can say with certainty that no issue matters more to the people of our state than protecting the health of their loved ones. You know, the Affordable Care Act, the bill that Obama and Biden administration championed, they've not only ensured that our families have peace of mind and quality coverage here in Nevada, but it's literally saved thousands of lives. In our state, nearly 1.2 million people live with a pre-existing condition. If Donald Trump gets 4 more years in office, we're going to see an immediate end to the ACA and the health care for millions of Americans will be lost. And now we're in the middle of a deadly pandemic, one that has claimed the lives of over 210,000 souls. 210,000 families are about to have an empty seat at their Thanksgiving table, not just this year, but every year for the rest of their lives. 210,000 families whose stories will be forever changed. And we know that healthcare and pre-existing conditions, they're just more important than ever. And Joe Biden has a plan to strengthen our healthcare system, to expand our coverage, and to reduce our cost. Donald Trump's plan is to leave us high and dry, leave our Nevada families hanging out to dry. Nevada needs a president who deals with this pandemic head on, not someone who buries their head in the sand. Nevada needs a president who will provide an economic lifeline, not someone who steps away from the negotiation table and leaves Nevadans unable to pay their bills at the end of the month. Nevada needs a president who sees the dignity in every American life. Nevada needs a president like Joe Biden in the White House, a president with a plan, a president who will protect our health care, a president who will stand up for workers and small business, a president who will not only help build Nevada back, but will build it back better than ever. Joe Biden's plan, his plan is going to allow us to beat this pandemic, to reopen safely and get real relief to working families. But Joe Biden won't stop there. Building back better means creating millions of good-paying jobs. Building back better means strengthening our healthcare system. Building back better means fighting for gender equality and racial equality. It means supporting childcare, family care, education. Building back better means investing in all of Nevada's communities. Building back better. Building back better means working together to build a better country, one with a level playing field, one where every American has a fair shot at the American dream, one where we make sure to lift up those among us who need it the most. And you know, thank you. The stakes in this election, they just couldn't be higher. We can protect our health care. We can see that economic relief is delivered. We can see this end to an era of division, this era of hate, this era of fear. So I'm telling you, I know you all know this from our heart. It's never, ever been more important that we vote this November. And in Nevada, right here in Nevada, we can and we must early vote. Thank you. Early vote starts next Saturday, October 17th. It runs to Friday, October 30th. If you want to avoid lines on election day, you should find the early vote location nearest you and make a plan to vote now and a plan to vote safely. You need to vote like your life depends on it, because it just might. It also might depend for the ones that you love. So make a plan. You can vote by mail. You can vote early. You can vote the day of. Make a plan. Make sure everyone you know has a plan to vote, and make sure they can get there and vote like their life depends on it. Because you know what? In Nevada, we understand what it means to have a great legislature, a great governor. And you delivered for Catherine Cortez Masto in 2016, sending the first Latina to the United States Senate. Nevada, I thank you because you delivered for me in 2018, and you made Nevada one of the 7th states in the country to have 2 women senators. And now we have an opportunity to send Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to the White House. We have an opportunity to repeat all this magic in a big way. So on behalf of Senator Catherine Cortez Masto and myself, we welcome Joe to Nevada. We look forward to him being our president and coming back to Nevada time and time again. And I know we stand ready to greet him each time, and we stand ready today to make a plan to vote and deliver for Joe this November, sending him to the White House. And if you needed any more reason, I'm just going to tell you this. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they have the heart to be there. Joe Biden believes in the future of our nation. He is ready to tackle the crisis we face head on. So let's show Nevada what we know. Let's show the rest of the country what we know about Nevada, that we're Nevada strong, that we're Nevada proud, and that we will vote for competence, for integrity, and for a better tomorrow, and for Joe Biden. Thank you.
Please welcome Pastor Kelsey West for an invocation.
Good afternoon. I bring you greetings from Nehemiah Ministries Christian Church. I ask that you would please join me for a moment of prayer. To the only wise God, our Savior, as we gather in and for this moment that will contribute to one of the most greatest chapters in our history, we thank you for not only the gift of life, but for the gift of this new day. We thank you for the blessing of this community of colleagues, allies, friends, and extended family. We thank you for the generations of men and women whose brave and strong shoulders we continue to stand on. As we near the eye and dawn of the November elections, we thank you for raising up judges in the form of political servants like Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Kamala Harris, who have presented themselves for public service while opening their lives to public scrutiny. We thank you for the days worked, the dollars given, the miles walked, and the hours of sleep that have been sacrificed and invested by these candidates, as well as their families and friends, staff, and volunteers. As we work to be swift to hear and slow to speak on this day, let our minds extend beyond the zip codes that we call our community and reflect upon those who reside in states of vulnerability that need our support and advocacy. Children and families, people without enough to eat, those facing eviction in cities with vacant buildings, people suffering from side effects that have produced life-altering afflictions within their mind, body, and spirit, as well as those who are unpublicized and undocumented victims of racism and sexism, and all the other isms that make us a nation and or a house divided against itself. Please, Lord, bless those who have never been called essential, but yet serve with little to no pay on the essential front lines that we call academic classrooms. And let us not forget those who have seen and felt COVID up close. Master, we trust that this pandemic wind and economic storm will soon cease. But should it not more sooner than later, let not our hearts lose hope in the fact that you are still our light and our salvation. Please, Lord, bless those who stand in need of justice today. Let not only freedom ring, but let verdicts prove that we're not only created equal, but in your image. So may it be according to Isaiah 43:19, for we expect you with exceeding great joy to do a new thing in this country that will spring up and allow us to behold a way in the wilderness, a new way in the wilderness, and streams in the wasteland that we have never witnessed before. In the mighty, matchless, and majestic name of Jesus the Christ, we pray. Amen.
Please welcome Angelica Vallarta for the singing of the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free
Okay. Where to be
He used to stutter too, but he overcame. They said something that really changed my outlook. Never stuttering defined. When we met, he told me he didn't believe as a kid that he spent an hour practicing poetry, but it got better for him. So I started getting public speeches.
very good.
I'm so very proud. You've grown into what I expected. An articulate, generous, and wonderful. That's what's always been fun. He's a guy that never quits.
Or he's walking on the stage to announce. He's got a speech also.
When it comes down to it, we all know that we're connected by much more than divides us. I just call moral responsibility those that have on their behalf. Responsibility to one another. We all are brothers. At her best, America's always been, and if I've been to do it, will be again, generous, confident, an optimistic nation, full of hope and resolve. No fear in America. That's what his entire campaign for the presidency come down to, fear. But I believe Americans are stronger than that. I believe we're guided by the words of Pope John Paul II, words drawn from Scripture. Never builds the future. Hope does. Building the future is an American thing, what we've always done. In fact, it's what we have done best and continue to do best. This is the United States of America.
Would it be for the debrief?
He's going to the podium, and he has right on the floor next to the podium is a spare handheld, just in case.
Then there's nobody else because he's the next person. So are we good to introduce him once the video or like at 12, right at 12:15?
Yeah, isn't DJ Miles
Yeah.
going to introduce? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a U.S. Senator, and for 8 years served by President Obama's side, helping make historic change. Donald Trump is tearing our country apart. We need someone who spent his life fighting for
North Carolina, Chris Paul here, more than ever, we need you. We need you guys to get out and vote. We need you guys to please get out and vote. So if you will, go to iwillvote.com/NC and let your vote be heard. First and foremost, Mr. Biden, I would just like to thank you. We're in North Carolina. I must be respectful, and I just want to say what an honor and privilege it's been to spend the day with you. This election is so important, very important in North Carolina, the home state of myself. It was great for me to spend as much time with you and hear from you personally how important the vote is to Black Americans. Would you please just talk a little bit about that?
I'm John.
Okay.
I used to say that voting is the most important thing to do. Black American turns out and votes and have a chance. They can turn out.
Well, I know they really have a chance. They really have a chance, and not just to be a professional athlete. There's more to life than just being a professional athlete. On behalf of myself, we thank you for today. Thank you. iwillvote.com. Make sure you vote.
Dave, ask you now to touch the podium? Yes. Okay. I won't have time to run up there and wipe it down. I thank you so much.
Can you go to enter the catalog and then I'll write this down here? Okay, perfect.
Be on the side. I'll grab the mic from you.
There's so many reasons around. We know we still have a long way to go, but with courage, strength, and resilience of our community, we will keep
Religion is just an enormous sense of solace. I go to mass and I say the rosary. I find it to be comforting. Kierkegaard said faith is best in the dark. You know, horrible things one from the other and marvel. Back up, and I'm absolutely thoroughly convinced and optimistic.
kindness.
walking out. Bring you up to my to the podium.
Yeah. I just told Molly to.
As a reminder, today's event has been set up to adhere to social distancing guidelines as outlined by health experts and the state of Nevada. Thank you for being here.
I'll let them know. I know. They fixed it 6 times so far. I'll let them know. What's up?
Please welcome Alejandro Duhart.
Hello, Las Vegas. My name is Alejandro Duhart, and it is a privilege to be here today. When I first came to this country, when I was in the 8th grade, I never thought I'd be standing in front of such a fine group of people getting ready to introduce the next president of the United States. I, like many of you and your families, came here looking for better opportunities. I was lucky to graduate college, get married, and raise our beautiful son, Michael. Michael is now 13 years old, fighting a pre-existing condition called brittle bones disease. It is thanks to the Obama-Biden administration and their work to pass the Affordable Care Act that my son can't be denied medical care because of his pre-existing condition. I vote Democrats because they fight for people like my son and their right to quality, affordable health care. The last few months have not been easy either. We all know how the coronavirus has hurt workers here in Las Vegas. Before this pandemic, I worked 5 different jobs as a banquet server. All 5 of those jobs are offline now. It's clear to me that Donald Trump has failed to do what's necessary to protect Americans from the health and economic impact of this virus. I am lucky that I still have a job and medical insurance for my family. But what about those who aren't so lucky? What happens to them? Who is looking out for them and their families? That's why we need Joe Biden, someone who, like us,
grew in a working class community, not on Park Avenue. Joe cares about us. He'll fight for us. Yes, times are tough, but like Joe Biden, one word describes the spirit of Nevada: resilience. With Joe Biden as our next president, we are going to move past the darkness of the last 4 years onto a brighter future. 24 days from now, Nevada, we have a chance to answer this nation's call for compassion, for faith, for resiliency. It is my honor to introduce to you the next president of the United States, Joe Biden.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, Las Vegas. Governor Sisolak, Senator Rose, and Representative Titus, and my good friend, Congressman. Well, actually, he's a great friend, but we also have Congressman Lee and Congressman Horsford. And thank you for the passport into the district. And I want to thank the principal of this great school, Ryan Cordia, here at Southeast Career Technical Academy, for hosting this. Just what he needed today. You know, I know you wish your students could be here, but I think that we're going to all look forward to that day soon. I want to thank you all and your staffs for doing all you've done in this challenging time. And Alejandro, thank you for the introduction. And you and all the people who chose and parents chose to come to the United States are the reason why we are the nation we are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Look, I know times are tough, especially for folks working in hospitality, even before the pandemic and recession. You, in your case, Alejandro, still had to work 2 jobs. Now it's 1. You're just trying to do right by your family. Just like so many people across the country. I just left East Las Vegas Community Center with Assemblyman Edgar Flores, son of Mexican immigrants. I got to talk to his dad. He got to swear at his dad as a United States citizen last week. He became a lawyer to fight for the rights of immigrants. He made sure that I met with a group of Latino leaders who fight for respect and dignity that we're all entitled to, no matter who we are or where we're from. Yesterday, I was with Kamala Harris in Arizona after her outstanding debate performance. I couldn't be prouder running alongside her. She's always looking out for the people, for you. You know, we took a tour through Phoenix. We met with the workers and small business owners and tribal leaders. We met with Cindy McCain, John McCain's wife, a widow and a dear friend of an American hero, John McCain. We also saw the resilience and the goodness and decency of the American people. They're not looking for a handout. They just want a fair shot. My dad used to have an expression. When he lost his job up in Scranton when I was in grade school, my dad would say, and we had to move in with my grandparents when he went down south from Scranton to Wilmington, Delaware, looking for a job. And he used to always say that, the fact is, Joey, I'm not looking for government to solve my problems, but I hope in hell I can at least understand my problems. He finally got a job. We could afford to buy a small home. He worked hard to build a decent middle-class life. It wasn't easy for him, but he had an expression. As I said, a job, Joey, is about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about your place in the community. It's being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay. You deserve a president who understands what you're going through, who sees you where you are and where you want to be. The last thing you need is a president who ignores you, looks down upon you, who just doesn't understand who in God's name we are. That's President Trump. his reckless personal conduct since his diagnosis, the destabilizing effect it's having on our government is unconscionable. He didn't take the necessary precautions to protect himself or others. And the longer Donald Trump is president, the more reckless he gets. How can we trust him to protect this country? Governor, you've seen how he picks fights with states and pits them against one another. Look what's happened. More than 210,000 Americans are dead. 420,000 have been hospitalized. We lose anywhere from 700 to 1,000 people every single day in America. Worse than any country in the world. More than 7.5 million Americans have been infected, and we're still counting. And here in Nevada, there have been more than 82,000 cases in total. More than 1,600 deaths. 80% of those deaths have been seniors over 60 years of age. Black, Latino, Asian American, and Native American communities are especially hit hard. Nationally, the infection rate among Latinos is almost 3 times higher than that of white non-Latinos. And the death rate as well is 3 times higher. More than 40,000 Latinos have died from COVID-19. My heart goes out to all those families. I got up this morning, there was an empty chair around the kitchen table. I'll go to dinner tonight, and the person that should be there is gone. You know, they've lost part of their soul. They lost part of their life. It's all about family. With you and I, it's all about family. Losing family is a devastating thing. We can do so much better. My heart goes out to everyone struggling with the economic crisis caused by the neglect, the simple neglect of this president. Nearly 11 million jobs lost since the beginning of this crisis. And they still haven't come back, including 136,000 jobs here in Nevada. Temporary layoffs have turned to permanent layoffs. Record growth last month in the number of Americans facing long-term unemployment. And the problem with long-term unemployment, once you get beyond a certain point, history shows us that they never get a job again. All told, there are now 30 million workers who either lost hours, lost paychecks, or lost their jobs entirely. Roughly 700,000 people have dropped out of the labor force last month. And the vast majority were women. We're still down 647,000 manufacturing jobs nationwide since the crisis has started. And our balance of payments deficits are going up. And here in Nevada, the unemployment rate is 13.2%, the highest in the nation because of President Trump's negligence. The hospitality industry has been hit particularly hard. The Culinary Union has recently said publicly that 50% of their members are still out of work. Tourism in June was down 70% from a year ago. The result? President Trump will be the first president in modern history since Hoover to leave office with fewer jobs than he had when he came into office. Here in Nevada, after seeing over 200,000 jobs created in the last 7 years of the Obama-Biden administration, Nevada has actually seen jobs go down under the Trump presidency. He's leaving us what he says the V-shaped recession. It's a K-shaped recession, where those at the top keep going up, and the middle class and everyone else keeps going down, getting worse. It means essential workers who sacrificed to keep us going through this pandemic are being left behind by the most unequal recovery in modern history. You get this, the top 100 billionaires in America have done pretty well. Just in the pandemic, the top 100 billionaires have made an additional $300 billion. Top 100. But you get the bottom half of that K, and it's a downward slide. You're left to figure out how you're going to pay your bills, put food on the table. So much food insecurity in America, in this state. How to balance doing your job with being a teacher for your kids, because of the negligence of the president, they can't go back to school because they haven't provided the wherewithal for schools to open. You're asked to risk your neck because you can't work from home, where the risk of COVID are kept outside. That's because you're a police officer, a firefighter, a nurse, or you work on an assembly line, in customer service or a checkout counter, or here in Vegas in hospitality, if you're a housekeeper, a casino worker, the ones who built this very stage. Governor Sisolak, your members of Congress are doing everything they possibly can to help turn things around. Governor, you've been focused and responsible. You followed science to put public health and safety first. You've made tough calls that save lives, working around the clock so we can reopen schools and the economy safely. Your members of Congress have done the same. And the House passed what they call the HEROES Act months ago. Would have provided billions of dollars to help states keep first responders on the job. The safety measures needed, the PPP needed to open our schools and businesses. But Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader, did nothing to move the legislation. Nothing in June, nothing in July, nothing in August, nothing in September. Things getting worse and worse and worse. And as people struggled and suffered, what did they focus on? If this wasn't so serious, you think I'm making it up. What they focused on is more tax cuts for the wealthy. Not a joke. Their proposal is another $30 billion tax cut for millionaires and billionaires. Cuts in funding. Cutting the means by which we fund the Social Security system. Leading the actuary of Social Security to say if they do it, by 2023, mid-2023, there'll be no money for Social Security. And a relentless effort to eliminate, as Alejandro said, the Affordable Care Act, which provides health care coverage for 22 million people. Over 100 million with pre-existing conditions. This is going on at the same time. He's already cost 10 million people their health insurance because their companies have gone bankrupt. It's unconscionable. Instead of focusing on our needs, your needs, he's trying to take your health care away. He's literally before the Supreme Court as I speak to strike down the entire Affordable Care Act. Take away that health care for 20 million Americans. That's 282,000 Nevadans. Take away federal protections for pre-existing conditions. 1.2 million Nevadans. And complications from COVID, like lung scarring and heart damage, could well become the next pre-existing condition. Striking down the Affordable Care Act would toss out the rule that allows our children to be covered on their parents' insurance policy till age 26. Take us backward when insurance companies could charge a woman more for health care than a man for the same procedure, just because she's a woman. Take away Medicare benefits for seniors. Increase their drug protection, their drug prescription costs. And just as he vowed to, quote, terminate, as I said earlier, the funding for Social Security. The idea that in just a few years could put at risk 410,000 Nevadans who rely on a dignified retirement because of Social Security. And all this, during all this, not once did President Trump call a high-level meeting of Democrats and Republicans to the White House to resolve these issues. I've served with a lot of presidents. Never, no matter good or bad you thought they were, did they fail to try to bring parties together in the White House to reach a settlement. You know why? He spent so much time hiding in the bunker in the White House or on the bunker of his golf course, playing hundreds of rounds of golf. And then this Tuesday, what did he do? He said, end of discussions. He wasn't even starting them. No more negotiations. No more negotiations. And now today he says, well, I'm back. One thing for sure, Donald Trump shows no urgency to deliver hardworking Americans like the family I grew up in, like all of you, what they need now desperately. For exactly 2 months since the emergency small business program the year Congress people voted for has closed down. 2 months of small business owners in Nevada and across the country waiting and hoping for just a little extra help to be able to stay open. Now we have more than 400,000 small businesses have been permanently closed. By the way, the largest employers in America are small businesses. Millions more are struggling to hang on. How many more will go under? How many more dreams will be extinguished because of the selfishness of this president and the Republican leaders in Congress? Make no mistake, if you're out of work, if your business is closed, if your child's school is shut down, if you're facing eviction, as millions are, over 20 million Americans worry about whether they're going to be able to pay their mortgage next month. None of that seems to matter to Donald Trump. You're a firefighter, police officer, who depends on state and local budgets. He's turned his back on you as well, because they've got to balance their budgets. They're being laid off all over America. When Barack and I were elected, we inherited the worst recession, short of the Great Depression in history. He put me in charge of what was called the Recovery Act. $800 billion we passed and needed to get out into the economy within 18 months to prevent a depression. We did it with less than 0.2% of waste or fraud. And I was able to see to it that the states, in order to keep moving, keep teachers, firefighters, first responders, all employed, I was able to get $140 billion in aid out to the states. Right here in Clark County, I was able to bring $1.2 billion to keep your economy going. We have that ability now. The House has already passed a similar piece of legislation. And we started the longest sustained recovery in American history. But you know what Mitch McConnell said about helping the states? I'm not making this up. He said, let them go bankrupt. Let them go bankrupt. What in the hell is he talking about? Folks, we're so much better than this. We can turn this crisis into progress. We can contain this virus and fully reopen our economy. We make up 4% of the world's population. And we have 20% of the world's deaths. If we just follow the science, expand testing and tracing, social distancing, washing our hands, implementing nationwide mask mandates. Don't politicize the race for a vaccine, Mr. President. Just have a plan for a safe and equitable distribution. On the economy, bring the Congress back together to pass real relief to help people who've lost their unemployment checks as well. And then implement a comprehensive agenda that I've laid out to make bold investments so we can build back better. You know, he keeps talking about the Republicans, some Republicans a lot of them are acknowledging and supporting me, but a lot of them also are talking about, well, Biden's going to spend all this money. Well, guess what? The independent analysis put out by Moody's on a Wall Street firm did a detailed analysis of my recovery plan and the president's. And here's what they said, this off of Wall Street, that my plan will create 18.6 million jobs in 4 years, 7 million more jobs than the president's plan, and $1 trillion more in economic growth than the president's plan. Democrats know how to get things done. Here's how my plan works. It's not going to raise a penny in tax for anyone making less than $400,000 a year. Not a penny. And how I'm going to pay for all this? I'm going to ask the big corporations and the wealthy to start paying their fair share. You realize that the Fortune 500 companies, 92 of them making billions of dollars, don't pay a single penny in taxes. It's wrong. Donald Trump paying $720 in taxes? Come on. The money we raise by eliminating the $1.3 trillion of his $2 trillion tax cut that affects the super wealthy and corporations. We're going to invest in working people. We're going to grow the middle class to make sure everyone's included on the deal. The kinds of investment that will stimulate the economy, including industries like tourism and hospitality, to get back to full employment fast and help build back better than before. It means, the analysis shows, creating millions of good-paying union jobs, manufacturing and technology, making sure our future is made in America. The president in the White House gives out $600 billion in contracts per year. Well, guess what? When I'm president, it's going to go to no outfit that doesn't make it in America the whole thing and sell it in America. I mean it. In infrastructure, building roads, bridges, highways, ports, airports, and clean energy, upgrading 4 million buildings and weatherizing 2 million homes, creating at least 1 million good-paying jobs in the process, making the climate safer, saving hundreds of millions of barrels of oil. We'll deal with climate change by creating millions of union jobs that build the climate resilience of our cities and our towns, fighting back stronger, more frequent wildfires, beating heat waves, droughts, hurricanes, and floods. By the way, did you hear what the president said about hurricanes this summer? He was told about how they're coming across the warm water in the Atlantic. And if they get to, the closer they get to the shore, the worse they get. You know what he said, Alejandro? He said, maybe we should drop an atomic weapon on them and blow them up. As we say in my religion, bless me, Father, for I have sinned. What's going on here? Under my plan, small businesses come out the other side of this crisis with access to capital and the ability to deal with their debts. We're going to get $50 billion in new capital, especially for minority-owned businesses and small businesses. We're going to make another $100 billion in low-interest loans available to these businesses, creating jobs, increasing economic growth, and increasing incomes. A $15 minimum wage. I'm dreaming here. But a $15 minimum wage for our essential workers. We're not just going to praise you. We're going to pay you with a good wage. Ensure you have strong benefits. We'll ease the burden of the major cost in your life. We'll build the Affordable Care Act, adding new health insurance options, not-for-profit public options, which give private insurers a real competitor. We're going to increase subsidies for premiums and lower your costs, increase plans that will lower deductibles and lower out-of-pocket expenses. And we're going to take on the pharmaceutical industry. With a plan that will slash cost of prescription drugs by 50%. The reason I'm not going into more detail, you've been out here a long time, let's give me one example. If in fact Medicare is able to negotiate for all the drugs they buy and say you're not going to be able to sell them to them unless you pay the price we're suggesting, that would drop by 60% the cost of drugs. We'll also make high-quality child care available and accessible. We'll work with the states to ensure that every 3-4-year-old will get access to free, high-quality preschool, not daycare. We're going to make sure low and middle income families never have to spend more than 7% of their income to care for young children. Because if we truly want to reward work in this country, we have to ease the financial burdens and create the care for families that are caring for raising a child and an aging loved one. Look, and the professional caregivers out there, home health care workers, child care workers, more often women of color, immigrants, are too often underpaid, underseen, and undervalued. That's why my Build Back Better plan will elevate the compensation, benefits, and dignity of caregiving workers and early childhood educators. We're also going to triple the funding for Title I schools like the one behind me here, which serve high number of children from low-income families. We're going to make 4 years of public college and universities tuition free for any family that makes less than $125,000 a year. We're going to make community college and job training programs free for all hardworking Americans that qualify. And if you're buying your first home, we're going to provide a $15,000 tax credit to help you get there. We're going to protect Social Security and increase benefits for millions of seniors. Look, I'm not going to lay it out, but go to joebiden.com. Go to Moody's, look it up. We pay for all this and we grow the economy at the same time. The fact is, the President of the United States can only see the world from Park Avenue. He thinks Wall Street built this country and CEOs. I see the world from where I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, communities like some that you live in. I know the middle-class working people built this country. The measure of our economic success is by what our families are talking about around the kitchen table. Are you able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay? How many times do you know somebody this morning had to say, I know those tires are bald, but you got to ride on them for another 20,000 miles. We just don't have the money. We just can't do it now. Who's going to tell her she can't go back to school because we can't continue to borrow the money to keep her in that community college? They're the discussions that took place around my table, and I'm sure yours as well. But if we're going to get anything done, we've got to come together. I made a speech I worked really, really hard on and thought really hard about before I made it in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, on the battlefield last week. I said at that time that we're facing a crisis not unlike we did after Gettysburg. I said there that I'm running as a proud Democrat, but I'm going to govern as an American president. I'm going to work as hard for those who don't support me as those who do. Because after all this country has been through, after all that America has accomplished, after all the years we've stood as a beacon of light to the world, we cannot be that here and now in 2020, we allow the government of the people, by the people, and for the people to perish from this earth. Folks, we have it in our hands, and I mean this in the bottom of my heart. We have in our hands the ultimate power. What's the ultimate power in a democracy? The power to vote. Here in Nevada, the best thing you can do is vote early and return your ballot quickly. Ballots here in Clark County were mailed 2 days ago on Wednesday. You can return your ballot by mail. You can drop it off at a drop box or vote in person during the early vote or on election day. But just make a plan. Seriously, go to iwillvote.com/NV. Make a plan. Don't risk any delays. Return that mail-in ballot as soon as you can. Make sure your voice is heard. We can be better than what we've seen. We can be what we are at our best, the United States of America. I'm confident we can bring Democrats and Republicans together again with him gone. Folks, conclude by saying there has never, ever, ever been anything the United States is unable to accomplish when we've done it together. Never, never, never. So, folks, let's stand up and vote and take back this country now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.